Most perennials bloom for about 3 weeks. Then they go dormant, turn brown, and spend the rest of the season doing absolutely nothing. You paid for them, you planted them, and by mid-July, your garden looks like a collection of green lumps. But there is a small group of perennials that almost nobody talks about, and they do something completely different. They bloom from late spring and keep going, steadily, continuously, all the way to the first hard frost. 7 plants. Combined bloom seasons starting in May and running straight through October or November, depending on your zone. And here's the thing. Most of these are genuinely rare. You will not find them at a big box store. But once you grow them, you will never go back to planting anything else. One plant near the end of this list draws more species of native bees than almost any other perennial in North American gardens. Researchers have documented the numbers, and the results are genuinely surprising. Let's go through all 7. Plant number 1 is Coreopsis Moonbeam, and it may be the most reliably long-blooming perennial available to American gardeners right now. Moonbeam opens soft creamy yellow flowers in late May and does not stop until October. That is roughly 5 months of continuous color with almost no effort from you. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, which covers nearly the entire country. The single habit that keeps it going that long is one shearing in late June. Cut the whole plant back by about half right after the first big flush, and it rebounds within 3 weeks. Fuller and more loaded with blooms than it started. Full sun, dry to average soil, and it actually performs better with a little neglect than with heavy watering. Native bumblebees work those flowers continuously from morning to evening throughout the entire season. Plant number 2 is Gaillardia, the blanket flower. The new Arizona Sun series blooms from June straight through the first hard frost, and the flowers look painted rather than grown. Deep rings of burnt red and gold radiating from a dark center. It is one of the most visually intense color combinations in the perennial world. Hardy in zones 3 through 10, that is coast-to-coast adaptability. The one thing that kills blanket flower almost every time is winter moisture sitting at the crown. Sharp drainage is non-negotiable. Get that right. And Gaillardia delivers heat season color that almost nothing else can match. Before we get to plant 3, here is something worth staying for. One of the plants still coming on this list is so unusual looking that even experienced gardeners stop and ask what it is. And it blooms in a color that almost nothing else in the summer garden produces. Plant number 3 is Gaura, also sold as whirling butterflies, and the name describes it perfectly. Hundreds of small white or pale pink flowers float above long wiry stems in a way that genuinely resembles butterflies hovering in slow motion. There is an animation and movement to this plant that photographs and videos cannot fully capture. You have to stand next to it on a summer afternoon to understand why people who grow it never take it out. Gaura blooms from May through October, hardy in zones 5 through 9. It thrives in exactly the conditions that shut most perennials down. Intense afternoon heat, dry soil, full sun exposure. Plant it along a south-facing wall in a gravel garden or at the edge of a dry border, and it will be the last plant still blooming when everything around it is fading. The movement alone is worth the space. Plant number 4 is Nadia macedonica, sometimes called the crimson pincushion flower, and this is the rare one. You will almost never find it at a chain garden center. Small specialty nurseries carry it, and that is exactly the reason most gardeners have never grown, despite it being one of the strongest performers on this entire list. Deep crimson pincushion flowers rise on long, delicate stems from June through October. Hardy in zones 4 through 8. At peak bloom, a single established plant holds dozens of those deep red flowers simultaneously. And the visual intensity is remarkable given how light and airy the whole plant looks. It self-seeds gently across 2 or 3 seasons without becoming invasive, gradually creating a naturalistic drift that looks entirely intentional. Plant number 5 might be the most quietly underused perennial in American gardens today, and the gap is genuinely hard to explain once you see what it does. Calamarus incisa. Most people have never heard that name. It goes by Japanese aster in some nurseries, but you will search a lot of big box garden centers before you find it. That is their loss and your opportunity. Calamus forms a dense, naturally rounded mound covered from June through September in small white or soft blue daisy-like flowers. It never needs staking. It never sprawls or collapses. It does not spread aggressively or recede into places it was not invited. It simply grows into a tidy full shape and blooms continuously and reliably for 3 to 4 solid months. Hardy in zones 4 through 8. It handles average garden soil without complaint. Place it in the middle of a border where that rounded form fills space beautifully between taller structural plants and lower front edging. And Calamus covers that mid-border gap with steady color from early summer straight into fall. The consistency is what makes it exceptional. A lot of perennials look spectacular for 2 weeks, and then you are managing them. Calamus does not work that way. It is one of those plants that is always doing something, never demanding anything, and over time becomes one of the most valuable things in the garden precisely because of that reliability. Plant number 6 is a perennial that European gardeners have been growing enthusiastically for decades, while American gardeners have largely ignored it. That is starting to change, and once you understand what it does, you will understand why. Persicaria amplexicaulis. It goes by mountain fleece or red bistort in specialty catalogs. The plant produces tall, arching spikes of deep red or magenta flowers from July through hard frost. In terms of late-season performance, we are talking August, September, October. It is nearly unmatched. The bloom spikes rise 3 to 4 feet and move softly in a breeze with a quality that photographs beautifully. Hardy in zones 4 through 8, it prefers consistent moisture but handles average garden soil well once established. Plant it at the back of a border. Pair it with ornamental grasses, and you have a combination that holds visual interest from midsummer through November, when most of the garden has long gone quiet. And now plant number 7. This is the one with the documented pollinator numbers. Pycnanthemum virginianum, mountain mint. Native to the eastern United States and one of the most ecologically important perennials in North American home gardens. The flowers are small white clusters rising above silvery white leaf bracts that make the entire plant look frosted, like it has been lightly dusted with something. That silvery appearance is striking from a distance and remarkable up close. Hardy in zones 3 through 7, blooming from July through September. Here is the number that researchers have documented. Over 40 species of native bees visit mountain mint at peak bloom. Not just honeybees, not just bumblebees. Specialist native bees, generalist native bees, parasitoid wasps, hoverflies. The ecological activity on a mountain mint in full bloom in August is something you genuinely have to see to believe. By comparison, most flowering perennials support a handful of common species. Mountain mint operates at a different level entirely. Plant it in full sun with average to moist soil and leave it room to spread slightly over 3 or 4 seasons. The fragrance is clean and fresh. The visual impact is distinctive. And the wildlife value it adds to a yard is extraordinary by any measure. 7 perennials. A combined bloom season from late May through hard frost. Most of them will keep coming back and improving for a decade or more without you spending another dollar. The question now is simple. Which one goes in your garden first? Drop your answer in the comments. Gardeners in your exact zone are reading what you write, and your real-world experience is worth more to them than any plant tag ever will be.